So there are some few quotes that I wrote here, and I want to break them down and share the key lessons, right? So it says, when you stop being afraid, you feel good, right? And I love that Ho decided to stop being afraid and to start looking for more cheese. And that's how he started to feel good. The more he ran down the maze, the more he started to feel good. You know, sometimes when fear comes, it robs you of your ability to reason. Fear just blinds your mind. Fear just blinds your eyes, and it stops you from reasoning. You know, there's this other quote here that they mentioned about fear. It says, why you are afraid is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists. And I actually love this because it teaches me that fear actually magnifies the little things. So what you're afraid of in your mind may seem like a big thing, but it's actually small. And the minute you overcome that fear, you'll discover there's actually nothing to be afraid of. You know, I love that how people put this acronym. They say fear is an abbreviation and an acronym for false evidence appearing real. So a lot of times what we fear is actually non-existent, or it's nothing compared to what's out there, the opportunities that are there. So once you get rid of fear, that's when you become happy. Smell cheese often so you know when it's getting old. This to me means that you have to have discernment. You have to know when to leave places, when to move with the times. Sometimes you keep cheese as people. There are people that you're with that no longer serve in your life, and you no longer serve a purpose in their lives, right? And it doesn't mean that they are bad people. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Because sometimes relationships are seasonal. And so you keep holding on to people who are actually draining from you. They are no longer adding value into your life. And you keep holding on, right? So you have to smell the cheese more often, right? So that you know when it's getting bad. Some people are actually there to rob from you. They are there to steal your peace, to steal your joy. Some people are just monitoring spirits. So you have to smell the cheese more often. Pray to God for discernment to show you which people to keep, which people to cut off, you know. And by cutting off, I'm not saying be cruel and saying I'm never going to talk to you again. There's a way that these things happen. So pray to God for discernment to know which people to keep in your life and which people to distance yourself from. So yeah, it just needs wisdom. Some people are there to drain the life out of you, so you have to be wise. So it could be people, it could be a certain place that you're in. You're always going to the same place, like I don't know, doing the same thing every day, eating the same food, and it's no longer helping you, it's no longer edifying. You know, it's just like how when you plant one crop on the soil is exhausted of nutrients, and so eventually you notice that the plants are no longer growing as you would have wanted them to grow. And so maybe you start feeling like you're cursed. But this is why they recommend that you, what's it called? You have to shift your crops after some time. You have to move that particular crop and plant it elsewhere and plant another particular crop in that very ground. Don't practice monoculture, right? Because monoculture actually drains. It doesn't add life, it drains. So monoculture is very much relevant in every aspect of our lives. Do not practice monoculture. Test the seasons and see what needs to go and see what needs to stay. This is why the trees shed off leaves. So if there are certain habits that you're keeping that are holding you back, shed them off. If there are certain programs that you're watching that are no longer serving into your purpose, that are no longer building you up, if there's certain music that you're listening to, smell the cheese and let go of it. You know, let go of the dead cheese, the cheese that is going bad. Let it go. Shed off the leaves. There's nothing wrong with shedding off the leaves. You will grow better leaves. If you keep holding on to the old leaves, it actually drains from you. It doesn't build into you. So this is why the trees shed off leaves. This is why snakes and reptiles shed off skin, because you have to grow new skin. You have to grow thicker skin. So if the old is no longer serving you, shed it off. Shed it off. Shed it off. New opportunities are going to come. So look for that very area in your life that needs to be changed. And pray to God to help you, show you how to change, how to evolve, how to grow, how to transition. Do not be the one who limits your growth. Growth is inevitable, but you can hinder your growth by staying in the same place. Sometimes you have to break out of the shell. This is why I love how a chick is birthed. For it to come out of the egg, it's got to break the shell with its beak, like quack, 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 until it comes out. If it says, they're going to take me out, or I want to stay in here, it's going to die. But the minute it starts breaking out for air, like, that's how it starts to grow. That's how it starts to grow and get fresher air. So envision yourself as a chick. You are in your shell, but for you to reach greater heights, to fly, for you to meet other birds, better birds, to graze on fresher grass and eat better grain, you have to break out of the shell. Break out of the shell. Know when to leave. Discern situations. Sometimes we stay too long in places and end up missing out on new opportunities. The quicker you let go of the old cheese, the sooner you will find the new cheese. This is basically what I've been talking about all along. The quicker you let go of the old cheese, the sooner you will discover new cheese, better cheese. There's always some better cheese out there. So when this cheese that you've been holding on to is becoming old and rotten, it's going to make you sick. It's going to drain the life out of you. So always be hungry to look for more cheese until you get to that place that's got cheese in abundance. It is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. You see, like Ham stayed there and he was starving. He stayed in that same situation and he starved. He was starving. There's actually a cute little movie. I'll put the link of the movie in the description box, right? So you get to go watch the movie if you want. It's a short movie, 14 minutes long. Yeah. So the way he's depicted in the movie, like he turns grayish, like he becomes this hungry little creature. It's got wrinkles, his lips are dry. He looks really funny because of hunger. He doesn't want to leave the cheese station, but there is no cheese there. It's no longer serving him, so he ends up just starving there, whilst other people, whilst Hoa is searching for more cheese, and Sniff and Scurry are like glowing because they are binging on cheese. So it's better to leave the station that you're in, to run in the maze, than to stay in a cheeseless situation. Hoa, on the other hand, regardless of him not having found the cheese yet, he was still finding little bits of cheese to pick along the way. So he was finding new opportunities along the way. It's important to be a risk taker, but don't be that risk taker who's like, I'm going to surf in the ocean, but you've never surfed. It's important to take calculated risks. Sometimes there are risks that could be deadly, but take calculated risks. You have to be that person who's never afraid to take a calculated risk. Pray about it and get to know if it's safe to go out there, but never stay in a situation that is not helping you grow. Also, vanishing cheese from that first station is also a metaphor, an interesting one, of how sometimes there's unexpected changes that come into each and everyone's life, right? Each and everyone's life. So how are you going to handle the change when it comes? So to me, it's like embrace change. Know how to embrace change, and how are you going to move with the time, like when change does come in your life, because sometimes it could be unexpected. How will you move with the time? How will you embrace that change? Will you be the one who stays there and feels sorry for themselves, or you're going to be like Sniff and Scurry, who will be like, okay, this has happened, we need to make a plan. Normally I'm that person who, when a situation comes, there is a problem, I'm always looking for a solution, because I don't like to dwell on the problem. The problem is already there. So I don't like being around people who are like, this is what is happening. I'm like, dude, this is already there, but how are we going to get out of this situation? What's the next step? So I love to think I'm a problem solver. I love to look forward and think of how we can get out of this particular situation, and than to complain about that situation, because complaining only magnifies the problem. But trying to look for a solution actually breaks down the problem into bite-sized chunks, and you'll find that you'll solve it quicker than you think. So yeah, how will you embrace the change? I once spoke about this, embracing change, so please do check out that episode, Embracing Change. There's 2 parts, so I hope you're going to love it. Old cheese could also be old behavior. What we need to let go of is the old behavior that is the cause of our bad relationships. Sometimes you could be the old cheese in your relationships. For example, if you're in a relationship with a person and your relationship is not going well, you could discover that you are the old cheese and you need to change that behavior. You need to change your toxic behavior and become a better person, become new cheese, so that the relationship should prosper. Many times people want to leave relationships when they're not working anymore. They're like, let me look for a new person, let me look for a new partner. This relationship is no longer serving me. But you could be the old cheese. So it's important to discern. It's important to discern, to let go of toxic behaviors, let go of that bad pattern of thinking, and then move on to a better way of thinking and acting. So yeah, you could be the old cheese. So make sure you assess yourself on a regular. Do a self-assessment thing, introspect and see if you're holding on to old patterns that are making you become a toxic person. Then you let go of the old cheese, let go of the old behavior, and become a fresher version of yourself. And then on a spiritual note, this book reminds me of the flesh and the mind and the spirit, right? So to me, him represents the flesh. The flesh enjoys complacency. The flesh enjoys the comfort zone. The flesh enjoys sin. The flesh enjoys everything that gratifies it, right? We read in Romans chapter 8, verse 5, it says, "For those who are according to the flesh and are controlled by its unholy desires, set their minds on and pursue those things which gratify the flesh." They are always seeking for old cheese. They're staying there where there's no cheese anymore. They're just comfortable in the same old place. But those who are according to the Spirit are controlled by the desires of the Spirit and set their minds on and seek those things which gratify the Holy Spirit. To me, the people who are controlled by the Spirit are those people like Sniff and Scary. Sniff, to me, represents discernment. Like he's always sniffing for opportunities. So it's like that discernment that knows when to leave a place, when to look for more opportunities, when to be hungry for more opportunities, when to look for success. You know, depending on what success is to you. You know, but Sniff is always hungry for the Lord. He's always hungry for to be better and to do better. You know, Sniff is discernment, and then Scary is the go-getter, is the action person, the person who listens to their discernment, that person who's like, okay, I'm discerning, I should leave this place, let me scurry along. That's Scary. He's the action man. He's like I don't know, the go-getter, the driven person, you know. So, and then Ho, on the other hand, is that person who's adaptable. It's that person who's flexible, who knows when to subdue to the Holy Spirit, because to me, that's who we should be. That person who could be stuck in a situation, but where finally a revelation comes to them, they know when to tag along and submit to the Holy Spirit's voice, and they obey and they look for more opportunities. That's how they break out of the shell. That's how they move away from the flesh. The flesh dies there in the old station, and then you move along and look for better opportunities to submit to the Spirit. So yeah, this book taught me so much. There's so much to learn from this book. I just shared a few things that I learned, and I just want to encourage people to go read this book. My question to you is, how will you adapt to change? How will you embrace change? Will you be ready when change comes? And are you ready to let go of your toxic behavior or whatever old cheese that is in your life, the old habits, the old patterns, the bad eating patterns, the bad thought process, whatever it is, are you ready to let go of it? I pray that God helps you come out of the shell, whatever it is that is hindering your growth, that is hindering you from living your best life, that is hindering you from living in your essence. As the new year approaches, how are you going to enter your year? Are you going to stay where there's old cheese, or are you going to move with the times and look for more cheese? You know, so this is a challenge for me, for you in the upcoming year 2025. Look for more cheese, be hungry for more cheese, and be aware of the old cheese and let it go. All right. Yeah, may God bless you and keep you guys and make his face to shine upon you. Please go read this book when you get the time, and I hope that you're going to love it and enjoy it as much as I did. And do check out Dr. Spencer Johnson's more books, like the 1 Minute Manager. This one is for people who believe they're called for leadership. It's a very powerful book on leadership, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching to the end. I love you guys. Bye for today. God bless you.